Hello, it's Pearl again, and I wanted to do just a really teeny tiny video on burnout because I'm a little bit burnt out, and so I got the glasses on as well because my eyes are a bit tired. See, yeah, a little bit tired. So this is what I do when I'm burnt out, and I'm really lucky that I get to do this. I think I was burnt out a few days ago. And this is the first day I've really had a chance to kind of stop and go for a walk and not have to think about all the things I've got to do later today or tomorrow. There are a lot of things I've got to do, but they may not get done later today or tomorrow. They might have to wait a while. And with everything that we know about burnout, mental health, all that kind of thing, one thing I do know is that we often put off doing the simplest things, like going for a walk, like taking time out, like just sitting down having a cup of coffee or a hot chocolate or a cup of tea, like going to bed a bit earlier, having a lovely shower or a bath. And if we stop and look around, there's a million and one things that we can do to help ourselves with burnout. But I will tell you, and I did go and get my award, for those of you who watched the last video on being honoured, and it was a really amazing day, and I met some lovely people and we were talking about a lot of things. And when I was talking, I realised, I'm still kind of like long term a little bit burnt out, but there's also these new things I want to do as well, which I'm going to move because some people are coming. The nice thing about where I live here is I've got a sea and I've got woods, so I can disappear into the woods when it gets a bit noisy, which I used to do a lot during lockdown. And just trying to get away from other people. Getting away from other people is a really good way to handle burnout as well. And one of the best things I did for this particular burnout was when I went to this award ceremony, I met lots of different people working in lots of different kind of ways. And I started talking about things I didn't expect to come out of me, about how I felt, really. And it wasn't all nice things, it was. And what surprised me was the last time I went to sort of like a business thing. I went to a business thing and I was very sort of like happy and joyful. And I found, even though I'd gone to this business event where everybody was talking about the future, like every single person I spoke to started telling me about their lockdown experiences, about their pandemic experiences. So even though, the business might be going well, they were talking about this thing we're selling, that thing we're selling. In all the spaces, all anybody was talking about really was how the challenges that they'd faced, where they still felt, they hadn't recovered. Even if the business had recovered, there was still a lot going on. And so people were kind of like pouring their hearts out to me, which it sort of happens to me a lot, I won't lie. But people were sort of recovering, but you could sort of feel that people were still really in need of healing, Anyway, so when I went to this thing last Sunday, not this Sunday, on the one before, and it really surprised me that I was the one that was doing that kind of talking, and it was just sort of coming out of me when I was talking to people. And one of the really most important things I got when I was talking to one company who work with carers and people with disabilities, and they were giving me some advice, and I really listened. And I took that advice, which if people who know me would say, well, you don't always take a lot of advice. I don't. And the advice was, you have to say no. You have to say, no, I can't do it all myself. No, I can't manage. And to recognise really when something is a 2-man job or a 3-man job or 5-woman job, whatever you want to call it. But I think, during the pandemic, there's so many things that were like 2-man jobs or 3-man jobs or 4-man jobs that we had to do on our own. We had to struggle and do it on our own because we couldn't work in the same way that we were doing before. So we had to do a lot of things solo without the extra support. And we sort of struggled through and we managed, and we were burnt out a lot of time, a lot of us. So what happened was I got that advice, and so about 7, 8, 9 days ago, I turned around and I said, no. I said, look, we had a big thing, something I had to do in my life. And I turned around and I said, no, I can't do this all by myself. We need to split this up. One of you needs to do this and I will do that. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad because, of course, like a lot of times, you think something's going to go a certain way. It goes a different way. And it was more, sometimes we look at these things, we go, oh, yes, it's this job or that job. And sometimes jobs can really get bigger. And it kind of did that. So I was really glad that I said that because I'm a bit burnt out now. And a little burnt out, last Friday. I've sort of carried on. We've got a couple more days. I feel like I'm in the jungle here. I love it. I do like coming here. It's very relaxing and restful, and it really helps me to recover from these things. But I look back and I think, if I hadn't said no, I don't know how I'd feel now. I know that probably would have crashed and burned, this time last week, which, I've managed to keep going for another week and I'm not too bad. I've got to this point in my diary where there's a bit of space for me to relax and to rest up and to get ready to deal with the next challenges. And I say that I'm burnt out, but also yesterday I kind of launched these new one-day training courses that I've got coming up. Please do let me know if you want to know about them. I am quite excited about it. And one of the reasons is really understanding, what sometimes there's never a good time to do things. So I've kind of launched those, but obviously I'm not going to set myself up to actually teach those courses, until I feel that I've had a few days to sort of recover. But obviously if I'm booking up to do them, it will probably be within a few weeks kind of thing, not tomorrow. I say that and then I'll get a call saying, can you do it tomorrow? Because that's the kind of thing that happens when I say that, But yeah, I'm feeling much better now than I did first thing this morning or last night, because I think when we get burnt out, it's really hard to eat well, sleep well and exercise because we're just exhausted. And this morning I woke up, I was so tired. I thought, today, what I need a really long walk because I almost can't tell how tired I am because I'm mentally tired, I'm emotionally tired. I have a level of exhaustion going on up here. And my body needs a walk. My body's like a dog, it needs a walk. And of course, when I get out, I get all this lovely environment, which is great for my mental health, great for my emotional health. And I can start to think about the things that I've got to do and go on, but not sitting looking at a desk, not sitting looking at a laptop. I can kind of like slowly. And it's nice because a lot of the work that I do is on healing and meditation, that kind of thing. So when I'm out and about and I'm thinking about my work, what's great is it really helps me, and it helps me with the day-to-day things that I'm struggling with. So, if I'm one of the courses of alternative emotional first aid, so I'm, I know what's going to go into that course, but just sort of thinking about it and going over it in my head, it reminds me of all the things I've learned. And they always say is, you teach what you need. So very often when I teach, it's teaching stuff I know, but because I have to teach it, it stays sort of on the top of my mind. And same thing with some meditations I'm doing for someone at the moment. As I'm working on teaching other people to do things, I remind myself that that's stuff I've got to practice. And my best way to the best thing to share today, and I hope you'll excuse me being a bit burnt out, mate, I'm burnt out, is really just to recognise those signs of burnout, recognise, if you're finding it difficult to make nice meals or choose food. And I get like that sometimes. I'm standing in a shop and I'm just looking at all the food and I go, I don't know, I don't want that. And I think, we kind of lose that connection with ourselves of knowing what's right for us. Or we're rushing around and we just grab anything that's there. And same thing, we've got work and stuff. It doesn't come easily. It's a bit of a struggle. And, it's probably because we're a bit exhausted. We just need to take some time out. And it's hard sometimes because, people send us messages and say, well, can you do this? Or, and sometimes it's I think being self-employed, that you have to put people off and say, yeah, I'll get to you in a few days, because if I take a morning off or a day off and relax, it's like I'm going to sleep better tonight, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to recover. But also the work that I do is going to be a much higher quality, and it will take much less time to do. So it actually benefits my customers, my clients, and it benefits me if I can kind of push back a little bit on work and make sure that I'm in the right, I've got enough to give. As we say, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And some days you wake up and you know that, we might not be sick, but we're very depleted. And we know that I keep feeling like it's Friday, like it's the weekend. It's only Tuesday. I feel like I've done enough work, the last 2 weeks for probably the month. I definitely had that last week. If I think about this time, by Wednesday, I was like, well, I've done a week's work in like a day. And so sometimes, I keep thinking in my head it's Friday and it's the weekend, because also the weekend was taken up with other stuff that was very, very important that I had to do, but not that much fun and quite exhausting. So, and I think if you're a carer, or if you're self-employed, or if you have flexible working hours, you're the boss, really. When when you don't absolutely have to do stuff, you're the boss, and it's important to be a nice boss, be a good boss for yourself. Give yourself a well-being day, give yourself some mental health time. And it's quite good. I came out and I had a hot chocolate and a little apple turnover. I said, it's gone up in price. It's all gone, everything's gone in price. And then I sat there and I thought, do you know what? If I don't do this, I'd be spending money on therapy, and that would be much more expensive. So this is a cheap therapy, free therapy, apart from the price of a cup of something and an apple turnover or a donut, if that's what takes your fancy. But I've also learnt that turnovers around the corner are much cheaper than down the road. So it's always worth learning something, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go and commune with some trees and hug some trees and hang out and fill up my cup so that I'm ready to share more stuff with everybody. All right, and you take care of yourself, okay? I know we have all this stuff going on at the moment, and drama and worries and all this kind of stuff, but you've got to remember that, we have to take care of ourselves today, so that we can, if we're worrying about tomorrow, well, we've got to make sure we get to tomorrow or the next week or whatever. So sometimes taking care of ourselves today is the top priority, because that's what helps us. If we don't take care of ourselves today, then there's more chance we'll be ill tomorrow, and we won't have a full cup to kind of deal with what's coming our way. I hope that makes sense. I hope it helps. Kisses. See you soon. Love ya. Bye.